Great morning, great morning, great morning, great people. Welcome to this morning's message. Welcome to the message, y'all. Welcome to the message. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're feeling good. Happy Monday, y'all. Happy Monday. The beginning of a new week. And we got a message this morning. So you know what to do, ski booski. Come in, like the live, share the live, share the love. Drop something in the chat that you're grateful for. Let's get in the flow of abundance as we get ready to get into the word this morning, y'all. So I hope you had a fantastic weekend. I had one day to rest, and so I'm so grateful for that rest because I did work on Saturday, which I'm normally off on weekends, but I went to work this weekend for a few hours, so that was a blessing. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that the Lord strengthened me to be able to do it because hunty one T, I was tired. Okay, I was tired, but the Lord did give me a word this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about clarity this morning, y'all. We're going to talk about clarity and something that the Lord has been talking to me about for the past few weekends, for the past, I guess, over the weekend, y'all? It was like the weekend, right? That the Lord was really talking to me about this. So, all to do it, let's get to it. Then we're going to get into the cards and get some clarity on this. And then we're going to get to the work. Good morning, honey one. Good morning. Y'all like live, share the love. Sip your favorite adult beverage. And all to do it, let's get to it. So, first things first, y'all. We know that the Lord is giving many of us a divine strategy, right? And what it is that we're going to pursue, and also how we're going to pursue that thing. And so over the weekend, the Lord was talking to me a lot about clarity. And as He's giving us strategy, it's also a specific timeline that we're going to have to follow. So, me being who I'm is, right? Being who I am, I'm one of them people, when I want to do something, I want to do it right then. So, oftentimes, it's hard for me to wait. It's hard for me to just enjoy the step that I'm in. TrueStory.com, right? I know me. And so you got to know yourself, okay? Drop it in the chat. I know me. So be for real about who you are. So I know me, right? So I know that when the Lord gives me a strategy, I be ready to implement it right then. Like, okay, I know what to do now. Let me do it. But something the Lord been talking to me about over the weekend, y'all, is that whatever He's getting ready to set you up to do is going to have to happen in divine timing. So if you have received your blueprint, your strategy, your whatever the Lord has told you to do, there's going to be a specific time where you're going to have to implement that. And so the Lord was talking to me about not rushing into what it is He's calling us into, right? So that's the first thing, like not rushing. Just because you know what to do, there's going to be a process. And so just know that when it's time for you to make the move, you gonna know when to make the move. But it is going to be almost very calculated timing. For me, something the Lord was just that He was just telling me this morning. What's the day, y'all? The 12th. Okay. What He was just telling me this morning was that as an example of this, right? So for 2.5 years, y'all know I was homeless. I was living in my car, and that was a period of rest for me. It really was. Even though I was still showing up, giving the messages, doing all the things, that was a period of rest, even though I had work in the rest. Now, fast forward to now, it has not even been a year, right? I got back home in June, so that basically ended my homeless journey. Well, I guess because I was living with someone at the time until the Lord blessed me with my own place to stay. I got that number this morning as well, 111. We'll come back to it. But so really, I hadn't had a lot of time in between my the end of my homeless journey and now. And so something the Lord was talking to me about this year, He was like, can you just take a moment to enjoy the time and space that you're in? He was telling me this, like, you be ready to be off to the next thing. And it's not that I'm not doing work now. I am, okay, because I have a lot that the Lord is requiring me to do. But he said he was talking to me this morning about how we will be so busy or so ready to run and jump into the next thing that we don't take the time to just enjoy the moment that we're in. Now that doesn't mean that you're not gonna have stuff to do. You still gonna have work to do. But for many of us, the Lord is also going to give us an opportunity to just enjoy being out of one season. And so my season of being in the pit for all those years that I was in the pit, right? He was like, you're not even trying to slow down long enough to enjoy the fact that you're no longer in that season. And so I said to myself, I was like, Lord, you know what, you're right, because I'll be ready to jump into the next thing. So that led to the Lord talking to me about patterns. All weekend, the Lord has been talking to me about patterns and cycles. He's been showing me, I didn't spend a lot of time on social media this weekend, but hold on, wait a minute, y'all. But hold on, because I'll get distracted. So he's been talking to me about patterns. Thank you, Lord. He's been talking to me about patterns. He's been talking to me about cycles and knowing, and this is where he was like, you got to know yourself, because something that he showed me, and this is also, y'all, remember I've been talking to you about the fact that you're going to start to see different people show up in your life. Like, you ain't gonna be listening to the same people. The Lord is going to be sending people who you've never seen before, but who are in alignment with how he's using you in your gifts, how he's using you in your calling. And so I've started to see other people that these are prophetic people, right? And I don't listen to a lot of prophetic messages, but this is not necessarily them like prophesying over anyone. This is just learning things about the gift and the office of prophecy, right? Because there is a difference in operating in the gift and operating in the office. Anyway, so having seen that, like two different people who I'd never seen before, I had, when I feel called to watch something, I do. And so both of them were just talking about like the patterns and the cycles that many prophets go through. And so over the weekend, and that was like Friday that I saw that. Great morning, Pam. Great morning. And so I started just thinking about my life, and I started thinking about how, like, man, this is a pattern for me. This is something that I tend to do every time. Like, it's hard for me to sit still. It's hard for me to not want to jump into the next thing. But I recognized over the weekend something that I know that the Lord is calling me to do, because I have my strategy. I know what I'm moving towards. I'm absolutely clear about that. But it's more so just about the timing of when to actually begin something. And so as I sat with this over the weekend, and even this morning as I was working out, it was just like, now is not the time to jump in, but the time to jump in is coming. So I hope this makes sense for somebody that this is a pattern of impatience that I know that I'm when I want to do something, I want to do it. And it's like, oh, I want to do it right then. But the Lord is instructing us. He will let us know exactly when to move. I hope that makes sense. Next. So the second part of that is the enemy studies us to know our patterns, right? The enemy knows our patterns. And so because the enemy knows our patterns, that's where he will try to create the disruption. The importance of me sitting with this weekend and being like, well, wait a minute, let me, this is what I do all the time, because the enemy studies us, y'all. That's the only way. And y'all know we over here exposing tactics of the enemy, right? So that's how he knows how to attack. There are no new tricks. There are no new things that the enemy does. But it's like, but you have to recognize the pattern in order to see where the attack is going to come. So for me, I recognized it. Thank you, Lord. Excuse me, Lord. Okay, look, y'all seen that. I recognized it. It was a pattern of impatience where if the Lord gives me something, I know when to act, or sometimes it's not even being impulsive. It's like knowing that I'm going to do this, but it's knowing when I'm going to do it that's going to be important. Does that make sense? So just sit, take some time and sit and reflect and recognize for yourself what patterns that you keep that you're repeating, and it's not necessarily bad, but this is how you, it's almost like how you're going to know what the attack is going to be, because the enemy is studying that so that he can try to trip you up in some way. Ultimately, we know that God is allowing this, right? Because he needs us to pay attention and start recognizing the things that we keep doing over and over and over that can keep us stuck or in the same place, okay? Next, what else? Lord briefly yesterday, he didn't go into a lot of detail about this, but he sent me to Matthew 7:15 and 16, and ultimately started talking about you will know them by their fruit. That is the way that they act. Matthew 7:15, 16 says, beware of false prophets who come disguised as harmless sheep, but are really vicious wolves. You can identify them by their fruit. That is the way that they act. So for some of you, there may be some exposure or someone that is going to be exposed in some way. I don't know. He didn't give me a lot on this. But the part that he did tell me, he put a little check me in my spirituals a couple times. Because I have to be accountable for, and he kind of finished this up this morning. I got to be accountable for when I'm not doing the thing or acting in a way that is right. So let me just say this: it's so easy to get pulled into the wrong behaviors. I found myself last week getting drawn and pulled into conversations, gossip, things like that. Y'all, one thing I'm gonna do is be transparent, and I just found myself. So this is being mindful of the conversations that you're having, the people that you're talking to, like just what you are participating in. The Lord checked me real good. He was just like, well, do you really want to participate in that? And I was like, you know what, Lord, you're right, because I found myself participating in some conversations that were not becoming of me. And also understanding, child, I'd have been talked about, probably still talked about. I don't really care, but everybody doesn't have that level of self-awareness, or where you know, self-confidence, where you're just like, well, baby, you can say whatever you want to say about me. This is, but it's also just like, is that the right thing to do? So be mindful of the conversations that you're keeping, the things that you're talking about. Again, full transparency. I'm not perfect. Because one thing you can't do is lie to the Lord. And so I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I know what I participated in, but this is accountability, and taking ownership of like, yeah, you know what, Lord, I didn't do the right thing. So when you know better, you do better. Okay. Next, yesterday was a powerful day of manifestation, y'all. 111. It was an alignment day. So I was off yesterday, but I had the opportunity, y'all. I made makeup yesterday, tried out some new products, made some new eyeshadows, made some lip gloss yesterday, and it was. And but now let me just tell y'all, I did take them off of my website because I have to try out the new products before and decide if it's something that I still want to put energy into. I've been making eyeshadows for myself, but I hadn't been making a lot of like new colors or really putting anything new on my website. But yesterday I had to fill an order, and as I sat and I just kind of played around with stuff, it was like, so the part of this message is you are going to have to decide what you're taking into this next season. And the fact that I was actually making makeup yesterday, y'all, and you know, I was just kind of like, you know, it was part, because I think I've been telling y'all that part of me has wanted to kind of put the spirit, the glam glosses and the eye pop eyeshadows on the shelf. But yesterday it was like, once I start doing it again, it's just like, oh, I really enjoy doing it. But so I had to talk with the Lord, because usually when I'm creating, y'all, I'm in a quiet space. I usually don't have any music playing. I don't have anything going. It's just me in silence with the Lord. And so I had that moment where I was just like, man, I really do still enjoy doing this. And so for some of you, you're going to be sitting down, and maybe if you haven't already done this, and I even updated the Clarity Tarot deck, y'all. So that's going to be coming soon. I've got to order it. I had to add some of the ancestors in the deck. And so, Pam, side note, if you want a new picture, please send me a new picture if you want to stay in the Clarity Tarot deck, because I had to take your picture off the chariot because I did put my aunt on the chariot. So if you want to send an updated picture, please email that to me so I can put you back in the deck, because I don't have the old picture anymore. That's a side note, for those of you who don't know, my Clarity Tarot deck is very personal. It has real people in it. I think we'll use it today just because I pulled it out today. But for some of you, you're going to be deciding what you're bringing with you into this new season and what you're not. And yesterday was a day that not only was I working on the Clarity Tarot deck, I was also making makeup. And so it was just an opportunity to start manifesting and kind of giving us an indicator of what we're going to be working on in this next season as well. Okay, so all to do it. Let's get to it. I think that's it for the messages that I had. The only other thing the Lord took me to was 1 Peter 5. That's where I was in Bible study this morning. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, well balanced, and self-disciplined. Be alert and cautious at all times. That enemy of yours, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, fiercely hungry, seeking someone to devour. Okay. Okay, yeah, send me another one, because I don't know. I have to look for it. Or if it's, I don't know what email it went to. Just send me another one. You can send it to spiritandglam@gmail.com. Spiritandglam@gmail.com. Okay. All to do it, let's get to it. That was what, I hope that made sense for somebody. So we're doing a recap, like kind of sitting down and evaluating what are we going to take with us in this season, what are we going to be focusing on for this next season, and also just making sure that we have our timeline together. Okay, all to do it, let's get to it. Here we go. Let's see what we got this. Oh, I said we were going to use the Clarity Tarot deck. So, and what did I get for myself this morning? The 2 of Pentacles and the 4 of Wands. So this is balance and juggling, and so whatever here, it's like success that's behind this. So it may feel like it's going to be a little bit of a stretch, y'all, a little bit of a stretch. I didn't write these down, but I'm gonna go ahead and put them back in the deck. A little bit of a stretch into, like, we're being stretched, and we hear that all the time, where we're being stretched to reach for the next thing. So let's see what's happening for the message. I can't, y'all, one of these cards is in this box somewhere. So there's one missing. I ain't go through the box and try to find it, because who finna do all that? That's too much work. So all to do it, let's get to it. Wait a minute now. Hold on, y'all. I don't want all my credentials to be in the streets. Let's see what we got. Let's see what popped out the deck. This is oh, come on. We have Harvest, the 7 of Pentacles, and the 5 of Swords. The 5 of Swords and fell all the way on the floor. This, of course, means like self-sabotage. This is winning at any cost. Look, don't play about your harvest, and don't play about your abundance, okay? And we talked about patience as well, right? Because sometimes this is almost like sabotaging your blessings. This is the first thing that's coming in, and talking yourself out of a blessing. And what do I mean by that? We're not going to, it's like knowing that you're not going to stop yourself from accomplishing what it is that you want to accomplish. But what can happen is, like we just talked about, sometimes we can be so ready to have a thing that we'll rush into something when we're not ready for it yet. Be willing to wait on the harvest. Be willing to wait on what's coming in for you. Be willing to be patient and put the work in. But it's going to have to happen in exactly the right time, y'all. There's something coming in. There's something about the timing of things needing to be exact for what it is that the Lord is doing for us in this season. Good morning. You had meant it in your spirituals. Who got something to say? First of all, my mom, because somebody's talking. We're not just talking about gossip. Y'all have meant it. Mind your words. Look at the first word on here, y'all. Gossip. Can't make this up. Witchcraft. Let me talk about it. So, I just talked about this, and then the Page of Swords came out, and my mama came out with the moon. So yeah, so this is the thing. It's some of you, you may have an understanding that people are talking about you as well. And that's fine. But remember, if you are the person that's participating in this behavior, I just took ownership of this. Don't think it not strange that people are also going to be talking about you, right? So this is about, thank you, Lord. This is about walking in a pattern, or creating, how did I write it? Let me see. Set a pattern of integrity, okay? Set a pattern of integrity. Be who you say you are, okay? Be who you say you are. And then if even if someone is talking about you, because they are, right? And these are people, these you never know who's talking about you. For some of you, this could be something positive. It's not always negative, but this could be something. But this so the first part of this is just mind your mouth, okay? Mind your words, because if you don't want to be talked about, then don't talk about people. But if you do, then take ownership and be like, you know what, Lord, you right. Repent for that. Okay. Like, my bad, Lord, you right, and do better. The next is deception, fears, illusions, cycles, manifestation. Told y'all this is about understanding that it feels like there's some hidden blessing that's coming towards somebody. I'm gonna pull one more of these and we're gonna clarity it. Now y'all, as I'm looking over at the box, I'm gonna show y'all just because it's sticking out. As I was saying, there's some hidden blessing. I looked over and I saw blessings for obedience. Okay, Jeremiah 29:11. Crazy thing is, the Lord, he said this scripture to me this morning. For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a future and a hope, right? So for many of you, there's some hidden blessing that's coming in. And at the bottom of the deck is the Knight of Wands. So I feel like for some of you, it's like, okay, two parts to this. Yes, we need to be mindful of not speaking death into our destiny. We need to be mindful of the words that we are saying. As we're manifesting things. But I also feel like for some of you, your name, and we hear this all the time, your name is being mentioned in rooms that your feet have not stepped into yet. There are people who are talking about you, some in a positive way, some in a negative way, okay? There are people who, some of you, come on, God, some of you are getting ready to receive a blessing, and there are going to be people who don't think that you deserve this blessing, but it's because of your obedience that's why you're getting ready to receive this. It's because some of you are getting ready to be blessed because of your perseverance and because of what it was that you endured. Some of our trials, y'all, our tribulations, they're harder. Some of us, we have to deal with things that are harder. I had just heard someone say that there are many of us who go through long seasons, who go through seasons of long seasons of long suffering, right? And everybody doesn't. Some people, you see, it seems like they just go through stuff and it's like, or this seems like they're not going through anything. But for those of us who go through seasons of long suffering, the Lord has been talking to me about the fact that that is because the blessings that you're going to receive are that much bigger. So for some of you, your long suffering season, this Five of Swords and Seven of Pentacles, your long suffering season is coming to an end. And there are people who are going to talk, come on, God, there are people who are going to talk and say that you don't deserve these blessings that are coming in, but they don't understand the seasons that you had to endure and persist through in order to receive these blessings. Let's clarity this and see what else is coming out. Here we go. Look, I just saw the Six of Swords, but let's move past it and clarity the Five of Swords. Here we go. We have the bonfire that is coming in next. This speaks to joy, passion, community, sharing ideas, getting things going. So for some of you, this is determination. This is a willingness not to give up, right? Whenever I get this card, and I don't change it because it always makes me just think about how even when things look hard or difficult around you, you can still bloom, you can still accomplish, you can still make things happen. Speaking of how you can do things in a season of being in the pit, right? For those of you who know this and understand this, I created Spirit and Glam. I started creating eyeshadows and lip glosses and all of these things, y'all, when I was in my car. So yesterday, when I was sitting here and I was creating the makeup, y'all, I had this moment where I thought about the fact that that was something that I created in one of the lowest times of my life. It was something that I created when I was barely able to do anything, right? When I was I barely had any money. I was robbing Peter to pay Paul. It was in that moment, in that time. And I laugh because I still have the things that I use in the containers that I had when I was making them in the car. And I laughed. I thought to myself as I was kind of I was doing the eyeshadow yesterday, like, man, I remember how I was having to try to, just imagine y'all trying to sterilize things and do all of this. And I'm sitting in the front seat of my car. And so for some of you, this is like that understanding that at your lowest point, the Lord will give you something and it created a stream of income for me as well. And so at your lowest point, the Lord will give you an idea. He will bless you with something to do. And I can remember just the resources showing up for me to be able to do these things while I was living in my car, y'all. So I hope this makes sense to somebody, that even at your lowest point, even when you feel like you don't have anything going for you, God will give you something. He will give you an idea. He will give you something that you're passionate about, right? And he will make a way out of no way. So I hope this helps somebody. This is coming up in the past position. But for many of you, I feel like there's going to be a spark that's reignited for something that you were once passionate about. So just if you feel drawn to put energy into something, and do that, because I'm getting energy back here. Here we go, clarity in the Seven of Pentacles. We have the star seed that is coming in. Old soul with deep spiritual wisdom, here to evolve spiritually important mission in life. Look at this. This card always gives me the ancestors up there, right? Like, this is whoever your spirit name. Now this one, look, he a little creepy though. Y'all don't look like that. He a little creepy. I don't like the way he looked, but just he's a representative representative of your spirit nymphs, okay, up there watching over you. This is important, y'all. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're building, the pyramids are on here. Whatever you're building, it's important. So you have to be willing to put in the work, but you also have to be patient. And my mama is coming up in the middle of the spread, hunty. And I put a different picture of her. She's still on the moon card in the updated version of this deck, but she's also on the sun card. I put her back on the sun card again. So this is like, yo, numero uno, spirit guide. Hey girl, hey. Get some of you, this is like communication, divine communication as well. But it's like your spirit team is watching your progress, okay? They are watching your progress to make sure that you are continuing to put in the work, okay? Because this mission, this what you're having to do is too important. This is generational as well, with my mama showing up out here. This is generational. So your spirit team has definitely got their eyes on you, baby, watching to make sure that you're, and that you're listening. Like, are you taking the time to really tap in and listen and make sure that you're receiving the wisdom that you need to receive? Because they're definitely guiding you somewhere. This is people back here. There's like a whole people around this bonfire. So this is support that's coming in as well. Let's clarity my mama right here. Oh, we have the Seven of Swords. Okay, the Seven of Swords. Told y'all. So for some of you, the Lord was talking to me about counterfeit opportunities as well. Let me speak to this real quick. So yesterday, was it yesterday? You got to know what you're ready for and what you're not. So how do I explain that, y'all? Okay, I don't feel like I'm at the step of trying to take out, let's say, like, take out like a line of credit for business, right? I don't feel like I'm at that step yet. So, but but how do I explain this? You got to know what step you're at in regards to your business. If there are certain things that if you hadn't done your research, if you don't have all the basic steps in place, be very mindful of, because I've done this, and this jammed me up, y'all. And this is for those of you who are creating a business, right? If you don't have the basic things down first, at one of the things that got me messed up, and it messed me up in a multitude of ways, y'all. was doing something, investing, Seven of Pentacles, investing in something before I was ready for that step. It's not that you won't need that step, but you have to know what step you are on, because you will find yourself investing in something, paying for something, and that's not the step that you're on. Does that make sense? So for some of you, be very mindful that to know the step that you're on. Do your research and pay attention to what step you were on. Next, the seven of swords is a card about deceit, strategy, outsmarting your opponent. Didn't we just talk about deception and the enemy coming to not it went in the scripture that we were just talking about? Which one? I feel it. Thank y'all. Look, I just heard the Lord say something else completely. So this is also knowing the cycles. I didn't think about this because it's just certain stuff that I don't pay a lot of attention to, but some of you, you're getting ready to come to that cycle where people are going to gang up on you. Okay, people are going to gang up on you, and I think I talked about this before, like this gossiping, like people going to talk about you, especially, come on God, especially as the Lord is putting you into new environments, new atmospheres. He's expanding you in some way. You people are gonna talk about you regardless. So, but it's the same cycle. It's and I heard this and I was able to see it in my life. So just know it's like you have to pay attention to when the Lord puts you in new environments. You're gonna go through different things. So some of you are coming to the point where there are going to be people that are going to lie about you. They're gonna talk about you. They're gonna like question your authority and your power, and you just got to stand on the fact that your power and your authority is God-given. It's not man-given. Okay, so understand that as you continue to expand and the Lord puts you in new places, you're gonna come up against the ops they gonna come in and they gonna try to make you question, make you doubt. They're gonna talk about you, slander you. You're not going to stop being talked about, especially as you're elevating. People are going to talk about you more as you're moving into these new seasons, okay? But there is some level of revelation that is coming in as well. The Lord is going to, but this Seven of Swords is also giving strategy. But it's like the Lord is going to reveal the wrong strategies. He's going to give clarity that is needed so that you don't take a misstep. I hope that makes sense. It felt a little scattered right then. For some of you, this is what this is. Like the Lord is really just giving you the strategy to help you move forward. The moon card being all about knowledge and secrets and change and beginnings. So this is like paying attention, because the Lord, he doesn't want you to make a mistake or a misstep. So just make sure that you are tapping in and just like Lord prayer, right? Making sure that you're praying for the right strategy and being patient so that you're not overburdening yourself or overwhelming yourself or taking on responsibilities before you're ready for them. Okay, let's clear to the Page of Swords. Here we go. If y'all have meant it in your spirituals, number 33, receiving messages from the divine, passing on your knowledge and spirituality. So again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the negative talking. Well, whether people are talking about you or not, who cares, right? Because they're not going to stop. So keep on letting them talk, right? What we are going to talk about is the messages that you're receiving from your spirit nymphs from the Lord, right? Wisdom to help you to move forward. This is information, this is ideas, implementation, downloads. So you're definitely receiving a lot of information. You're receiving a lot of guidance. You're being divinely guided, but this is also about trusting that, right? This feels like for some of you, you're receiving messages, right? And maybe you've been doubting the messages that you're receiving. You've been doubting what you've been hearing. You've been doubting the plan of action that you're meant to take. This is not doubt. Don't doubt the plan that you're meant to take. The enemy is going to, because if there's any confusion around it, it ain't God. Okay. If there's any confusion around what it is that you're trying to accomplish, it's not God. Thank y'all. For some of us, it's like remembering, y'all, how many times has the Lord blessed us with something and it just flows. It's not difficult, it's not challenging. It's just like an open door. It's just like you just step into something and it just works, right? It just works. If it doesn't feel like that, if there's confusion around it, if there's a lack of clarity, and the Lord said this to me the other day, if it's not a yes, then it's a no. This is how you know that it's something in alignment with what God is doing, because you don't feel like you're jumping through hoops. You don't feel like you're trying to force something into being. It just flows. It's just like, okay, yeah, this is the way. I'm gonna walk in it, because the Lord is going to instruct us. He's going to counsel us with his loving eye upon us. And so if it doesn't feel like every piece is just clicking into place, then it's probably not. Then it's like, that's when you have to step back and say, wait a minute, this don't quite feel like it's in the flow. And that may be an indicator that you're not in alignment, or it's not the thing that you're supposed to be doing. I hope that makes sense. Some of you, this is also like questioning. I don't know if you're questioning the messages that you're receiving. But this is why you have to spend time with the Lord, so that you know his voice, regardless of on top from anybody else's. Okay. If you don't spend time with God and know how God speaks to you, then you will get confused. You have got to spend your time with the Lord. Okay. You have got to spend your time with the Lord. There's blessings in patience. Thank y'all. There's blessings in patience as well. So for some of you, the fact that you're willing to just wait and wait for the doors to open, there's blessings in waiting for God to show up for you. Here we go. 14:16. 1 John 4:16. Now, I just talked about this. And so we know and rely on the love God has for us. God is love. Drop that in the chat. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in them. I just talked about the company you keep, right? The company you keep. Unique, stand out. God is love. So for some of you, this is, again, understanding that for some of you, your circle is getting ready to change. The people that you're surrounded with are getting ready to change. This is giving, it's like the difference in these two cards, this Five of Swords versus this Bonfire card. For some of you, the Lord is going to be surrounding you with a new circle of people. Because it feels like they're going to be better for you than the people that you were dealing with or you were surrounding yourself with. Sometimes your circle has to change. And this is also understanding, and this is speaking to environments as well. Come on, God. This is speaking to environments as well. Some of you have outgrown your environment. You've bloomed as much as you can in the environment that you're in, right? So for some of you, the Lord is going to be, and he's going to be changing your environment because it's time. You need more room to grow. So he's going to be changing your environment, and also putting you around people who inspire you, who motivate you, who, you know what I'm saying? There's a difference, y'all. When you're surrounded by people, we've been talking about this and I heard it again today or this morning. When you're surrounded by people who want to see you grow, advance, and elevate, it makes a difference. When people are not in competition with you, but want to collaborate with you, it makes a difference because you don't even realize how those types of people are siphoning your energy, y'all. Like, it is crazy when you finally recognize the things that have been pulling on your energy and keeping you from feeling inspired, motivated. So that's why for many of you, the Lord is going to be changing your environment and the people that you're surrounding yourself with. Let me say this, and then we're finna be done. So for some of you, this is also a time for you to start over and recommit. Good morning, Christy. Good morning. To start over and recommit. So last week, y'all, it was like almost a terror. It was a terror. Y'all didn't have to handle me about it. I got back. I got my life in order. Last week, it's like I fell off. I didn't end up exercising, but maybe 3, I think it was 2 days because I was under the weather, just was all over the place with, you know what I'm saying? I still was eating fairly well. I didn't do too bad with my diet, but because I'm not really dieting, I'm just watching what I eat. But exercise wise, I wasn't on none of that. Okay. So for some of you this morning, when I got on the treadmill, it's like you may feel like you're restarting. So it's like recommit to whatever it is that you are doing in this season. This morning I got up, I got on the treadmill, I was, did my thing this morning, and I was like, okay, this week I'm gonna do my whole week the way that I'm supposed to, because I couldn't last week because I ended up feeling sick and all the things. So this is like feeling like you're starting over, but you're just recommitting to something you've already set in place for yourself. And paying attention to the timeline. Okay, paying attention to the timeline. Last thing, I know I just said that, but last thing is, this may not apply to everybody, but this is something the Lord shared with me this morning. For some of you, the Lord is going to give you 1 year. This is like 1 year that is going to and remember, y'all, for some of us, if you have just come out of a severely difficult season, okay? If you have just come out of a struggle season, the wilderness, okay? If you have just come out of the wilderness, there are even times in the Bible, and when I'm thinking about just different times where there were times where there were periods of peace, okay? I just heard kings, right? So if you think about like different kings in the Bible, there were times where they were at war, they were battling, they were going through things, but then there were periods of peace as well. So I feel like if in thinking about that and understanding, y'all, we don't have to always be off to the next thing. So for some of you, and this is me, the Lord is giving me 1 year. Right? He's like, okay, I'm gonna give you a year. I'm still working, so it's not like I'm not still doing what I'm supposed to do. But the Lord will give you a time where you're going to be working, but you're going to be resting until it's time for the next thing. For some of you, it's going to be 1 year, especially if you just came out of like a severe year, a famine, okay? A famine year. Let's call it what it is, a famine. If you have just come out of the wilderness, the Lord will give you time to replenish yourself and renew yourself. It's us that be trying to rush into something new, and the Lord be like, listen, I ain't tell you to do that right now. I'm trying to give you a year to just establish or to get established. Come on, God, to get established, to settle yourself. I'm trying to settle you in the land. And so be mindful of rushing into the next thing. Patience, right? Being willing to build at the rate that God determines, because you're not going to stop moving forward. We already know that. But give yourself time to get settled, to get yourself established, to get things done. You can start setting things in motion because, again, you have the blueprint of where you're going, but you don't have to rush into it. Okay. Anyway, that's it. That's the message. Lord, I hope this helps somebody. Thank y'all so much for the likes, the shares, the comments, the subscribes, the love, the energy. I'm so truly, truly grateful. That's the message, y'all. That's all I got. Y'all go be great and amazing, do great and amazing things. Have a fantastic and an amazing Monday in purpose, on purpose. Hydrate your soul. Drink your water. Say your gratitude. I'm going through a lot right now, and every time I get on YouTube, someone is saying something that I'm going through. Most of us, everybody going through something, honey. Like, true story, y'all. Everybody is going through something. That's life, right? That's life. And one of the things that I've just learned over the years and over my journey is, how am I going to respond to it? How am I going to react to it? You know what, Lord? You're sending me through this for a reason. What do I need to learn from this? What is it that I need to, what are you trying to show me? What lesson is this? Is this something that I've dealt with before? Is there, what is it, Lord? Show me what I need to know in order to not go through this again. Some life just be lifing. Like, we can't stop things from happening. But if it's something that you feel like you have I done been here before, honey, then that's the time for you to say, okay, Lord, I don't want to go through this again. If it's not, then it's something that, if this is something that you're experiencing for the first time, then guess what? You just gonna have to go through it. You can't, because otherwise, how will you know why you're having to go through it? You just got to go through it. But if you on repeat, it's only because there's something you need to learn. And that's where you pray and ask the Lord, what to do? What is this? Because I don't want to go back through this again. Okay. But keep finding myself in the same situations, then you ain't learned the lesson, honey. And that's the bottom line of that. If you keep finding yourself in the same situation, then there's something you haven't learned. Because the Lord only puts us on repeat when we have failed to learn what we needed to learn. When you learn the lesson, you won't keep repeating the same thing over and over. That is a true story.com. Okay. Anyway, that's all I got. Y'all gonna be great, amazing, do great, amazing things. I will see y'all on the message in the morning, 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. I love y'all in real life. Thank y'all. Love y'all. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you, Lord.